My mother looked straight into my aunt's camera and called me a pathetic failure who was too soft to say no to anything. My brother Jason laughed so hard he nearly choked, nodding along as my dad joked that I was the family's personal ATM, the one who'd never grow a spine. For 3 years, I'd been sending them $47,000. Every month, I covered rent, utilities, groceries, Jason's tuition, Dad's truck payment, and whatever emergency they invented. I worked overtime to fund their comfort while I lived in a studio and ate cheap dinners like it was normal. "Emma's so pathetic," my dad said in the video, grinning like he'd won something. "We could probably ask her to buy us a house and she'd find a way to do it." They weren't just laughing, they were planning, casually discussing which bills to slide onto my plate next. And then my mom said it, clear as day, "Just milk her for everything she's got." The clip was never meant for me. It was an unsent message, an inside joke for someone else. But my aunt hit the wrong contact and I got 3 minutes and 47 seconds of my own family mocking me like a strategy session. I didn't cry. I didn't call. I didn't beg them to love me. I opened my files. Because pathetic failures keep records, and mine ended in a 47-page invoice. Sometimes the family ATM doesn't argue. It just closes. This didn't start overnight. It started 3 years ago, right after I graduated college and landed my first real job as a software developer. $68,000 a year felt unreal after 4 years of instant coffee and library snacks. That's when my family realized I had money. The first request came from Mom. "Honey, we're just a little short on rent this month. Could you help us out? We'll pay you back next week, I promise." It was $400. I sent it immediately. Proud, relieved, almost excited to finally be the helpful daughter. The payback never came. Instead, next month brought a new emergency. Dad's truck needed repairs, Jason's tuition was due, the electricity was about to be cut off. Every month, another crisis that somehow required my immediate intervention. My success didn't make them proud. It made me the solution. Within 6 months, I was sending them $1,500 a month like it was normal. Mom's rent was $800. Utilities averaged $300. Groceries were $200. The rest went to whatever was urgent that week. Jason's community college tuition was its own category. $1,200 per semester, and I paid it in full because I was told education is an investment in our family's future. I kept records because that's how my brain works. Every transfer went into a spreadsheet, date, amount, purpose, with screenshots attached when I had them. Not because I planned to collect, I truly believed this was temporary. A bridge, a few months until they got back on their feet. 3 years later, that spreadsheet didn't look like a bridge. It looked like a life support system. $47,000 in entries, all tied to my name. And the money was only half of it. What broke me down was the emotional script that came with every request. "Emma, you know how much we love you," Mom would start, voice trembling right on cue. "We're so proud of you, but we're struggling. You're our smart daughter. You understand money better than we do." Dad would add, "We hate to ask, but you're the only one who can help. Just a little support until we're stable again." Jason would promise, "I'll pay you back when I graduate. You're the best sister ever for believing in me." They wrapped every withdrawal in a compliment, then acted shocked when I hesitated. And because I was too soft to say no, I kept saying yes, until being their family ATM felt like my job title. I should have noticed earlier. People who love you don't punish you for having a backbone. The wake-up call came on a Tuesday evening while I was meal prepping another week of budget dinners so I could keep funding their lifestyle. My phone buzzed with a text from Aunt Linda. It wasn't meant for me. "Here's the video from dinner Sunday," it read. "You need to see this. Don't show anyone." Attached was a file, 347. For a second, I almost didn't watch it. Linda had always been a magnet for family drama, and I assumed this was just another messy argument she wanted to stir up. But the message felt wrong, urgent, like she'd hit send and immediately regretted it. I hit play anyway. The video opened on their kitchen table, the same table where I'd eaten countless dinners, never realizing I was the punchline. Mom, Dad, and Jason were sitting around with beers and leftover pizza, talking about me like I was a shared joke. "Emma's just so pathetic," Mom said, laughing. "She's too soft to say no to anything. I could ask her to buy me a car and she'd figure out a way." Jason snorted. "She's basically our family ATM. Send a sad text and boom, money appears." Dad lifted his beer in a mock toast. "To our pathetic failure daughter, keeps us comfortable and doesn't even realize she's being used. They laughed like it was harmless. Like I wasn't a person, just a payment plan. My phone started ringing immediately. Aunt Linda, frantic. Emma, oh God, no, that was an unsent message. I was sending it to your cousin to show him how awful they are, and I hit the wrong contact. Please, you have to delete it. They don't know I recorded them. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I saved the file, calmly, to 3 different places. Then I watched it one more time without blinking. Because once you hear how your family talks when they think you're not listening, you stop pretending it was love. After watching that video for the 4th time, I did something I'd never done before. I stopped reacting and started auditing. I opened my laptop and went through every transaction I'd made for my family over the past 3 years. Not just the amounts, I already had those tracked, but the context, the emergencies, the messages that came before them, the guilt that always arrived right on schedule. I pulled up text threads, voicemails, and emails and reread them with new eyes now that I knew what they called me when they thought I wasn't listening. The pattern was so consistent it felt scripted. First came the crisis. We need help immediately. Then the praise. We're so proud of you. You're our smart daughter. Then the squeeze. We hate to ask, but you're the only one who can save us. Over and over, for 3 years. I counted 47 separate cycles of the same formula. 47 times they played the same song, and 47 times I danced because I was too soft to say no. And the receipts weren't just bank transfers. They were the timing. A rent crisis would hit, I'd send money the same day, and then I'd scroll and see posts from that same week showing spending that didn't match the panic. A tuition emergency would arrive, I'd scramble, and then I'd see non-essentials bought immediately after. A breakdown would require instant cash, and somehow the urgency always disappeared the moment the payment cleared. Once I looked for it, I couldn't unsee it. By the time the sun came up, I didn't just have a total. I had a story, organized, dated, and backed by screenshots. About $47,000 worth. But the moment that truly snapped something into place wasn't in my spreadsheet. It was in our family group chat. 2 weeks after the video, I typed one sentence. I'm overwhelmed at work. I might need to take some unpaid time off. I didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for advice. I didn't even mention them. I just wanted to see if anyone would respond like family. The chat went silent. 3 hours, no, are you okay? No, do you need anything? No, I'm sorry. Then Jason finally replied, does that mean you can't send money this month? That was it. Not concern for me, concern for their cash flow. In one message, he confirmed what the video had shown me. I wasn't their daughter or sister in practice. I was a resource, a budget line, a family ATM, so I stopped trying to argue my way into being valued. I stopped explaining my feelings to people who only measured my worth in payments. And for the first time in 3 years, I didn't feel guilty. I felt clear. That clarity turned into action faster than I expected. For the first time, I stopped treating my situation like family drama and started treating it like what it actually was, a documented pattern. I spent the next week building something I'd never built before, a case against my own family, not for court, for closure. I took my spreadsheet and turned it into an invoice, a real one, line items, dates, descriptions, totals that didn't rely on my memory. Monthly rent support, $800 x 36 months. Utilities and groceries assistance. Jason's tuition payments. Emergency repairs and just this once transfers. Every payment got its own line. Every line got its own receipt. Screenshots, transfer confirmations, timestamps, clean enough that a stranger could read it and understand exactly what happened. By the end, it wasn't help anymore. It was a $47,000 business relationship disguised as love. And because I'm the kind of pathetic failure who likes things organized, that invoice didn't end up as a single page. It became 47 pages. 47 pages to match the number that had been haunting every part of my life. But money wasn't the only evidence. I spent 2 more days going through my phone, screenshotting the emotional script that came with every request. The praise, the panic, the squeeze. We're so proud of you, honey, but we're in trouble. You're our smart daughter. You understand money better than we do. We hate to ask, but you're our only hope. Emma, you know how much we love you, right? Every love was followed by a number. Every proud was followed by an emergency. And the affection always vanished the moment the payment cleared. It was the same pattern the video captured in 3 minutes and 47 seconds. just stretched out over 3 years. Then, as if the universe wanted to test whether I'd actually changed, Jason texted me that Friday. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "We need to talk." Not even an attempt to pretend he didn't know. Just, "Rent's due Monday and I'm short $400. Can you send it by Sunday?" No mention of the unsent message. No awareness that I'd watched them call me a family ATM and laugh. Just entitlement, with a smiley face like we were making casual plans. That's when I did something I'd never done before. I didn't respond. I called my real support system. People who weren't financially attached to me. A coworker, a friend, someone who'd watched me skip comfort to keep my family comfortable. All of them said the same thing. "It's about time." Not one person told me I was overreacting. Not one person told me I owed my parents and brother continued access to my wallet. I checked my finances one last time, too. Savings, bills, everything. Cutting them off wouldn't break me. It would finally stop breaking me. I looked back at Jason's $400 request, then at the folder on my laptop, the video, the screenshots, the 47-page invoice. For 3 years, I'd been too soft to say no. I wasn't anymore. Sunday afternoon, I drove to their house for the first time in months. I didn't text ahead. I didn't call to warn them. I just showed up with a manila folder containing 47 pages and a laptop holding a 347 video they never expected me to see. When Mom opened the door, she actually looked pleased. "Duh, Emma, what a nice surprise. We need to talk," I said, stepping past her into the living room where Dad and Jason were watching football. "All of us, right now." I set the folder on the coffee table, the same table I'd watched in that video, and opened my laptop. "I have some things to show you." Mom's smile stalled. Dad muted the TV. Jason sat up, suddenly alert in the way people get when money is involved. I slid the folder toward them. The invoice was everything I'd spent 3 years refusing to calculate out loud. Rent, utilities, groceries, tuition, emergencies, all of it organized by date and category with payment confirmations attached. Mom flipped the first page, her face drained. "No, Emma, what is this?" "A record," I said evenly, "of every dollar I sent you over the last 3 years." Dad tried to laugh like it was a joke he didn't understand. "Why would you keep track of that?" Jason grabbed the folder and scanned faster, jaw tightening. "This is insane. We're family." "That's interesting," I said, clicking open the video file, "because I have another record too." I turned the screen toward them and hit play. 3 minutes and 47 seconds of my parents and my brother calling me pathetic, laughing about how I was too soft to say no, and joking comfortably about me being their family ATM. When the video ended, the room went silent in a way I'd never heard in that house. Finally, Dad cleared his throat. "That video is taken out of context. We were venting. You know how families joke." I kept my voice calm. "Which part was the joke? When you called me stupid or when you talked about milking me for everything I'm worth?" Mom's voice went shaky, right on cue. "Honey, you're misunderstanding. We love you. We're proud of you. People say things they don't mean when they're frustrated." "You said I was too pathetic to say no," I replied. "Was that frustration or honesty?" Jason cut in, trying a different angle. "Okay, maybe it sounded bad, but we're struggling. You're doing well. You can afford to help. That's what family does." "When have you ever helped me?" I asked. "We raised you," Mom said immediately. "Everything you have is because of what we taught you." "So you think I owe you," I said, "for raising your child?" Dad leaned forward. "We think you should want to help your family when they're in need. That's what a good daughter does." There it was, the entitlement, clean and uncomplicated. I closed the laptop. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "If you want any relationship with me going forward, it's going to be based on respect, not financial dependency. No more requests for money, no more guilt scripts, no more treating me like an account you can withdraw from." Jason scoffed. "We're not treating you like a bank account. You called me an ATM." "We were joking." "Then you'll have no problem changing the joke," I said. Mom's tears started. "Emma, please. You can't cut off your family over a few silly words. We need your help." "If you loved me," I said quietly, "you wouldn't take my money with one hand and mock me with the other." The silence stretched again. Calculation happening behind their eyes. Pride versus paycheck. Dad finally said, flat and stubborn, "We're not apologizing for speaking honestly, and we're not going to be punished because someone recorded a private conversation." Someone. Not me. I nodded once like I'd received the information I needed. Understood," I said. I picked up the folder, closed my laptop, and walked back toward the door. Behind me, Mom's voice sharpened through the tears. You're really going to do this? I didn't turn around. I already did, I said, and this time the record wouldn't stay private. I drove straight home and spent Sunday night doing something that felt like defusing a bomb, dismantling 3 years of dependency, one automatic payment at a time. Seda. First, I called my bank and canceled every recurring transfer tied to their lives: rent, truck payment, utility accounts I'd been temporarily linked to. Anything that existed because I'd made it easy for them to reach my money. Then I logged into every account where their information was saved for quick help. I removed their payment profiles, disabled shortcuts, changed passwords, and turned off the convenience features I'd mistaken for kindness. I didn't argue, I didn't announce it. I just closed the pipeline. By Monday morning, their lifestyle had a $1, $500 a month hole in it. The panic started exactly when I expected it to, right on schedule, like a system detecting an outage. Jason texted around 10 a.m. Hey, my rent payment got declined. Did something happen to your account? When I didn't respond, he called. I let it go to voicemail. Emma, I need that $400 by tonight or I'm getting hit with late fees. Call me back. Dad called next. Calm first, like this was a technical glitch I should fix for him. Sweetheart, there's an issue with the truck payment. The transfer was canceled. Can you call and fix it? Mom called that afternoon, already climbing into panic. Emma, honey, I don't understand what happened, but my rent didn't go through. My landlord is furious. I need you to send it right away. By 6 p.m., I had 29 missed attempts, calls and voicemails stacked like bricks. By Tuesday morning, it hit 47. A new record. And the script shifted from confusion to coercion. Mom went dramatic. Claims of chest-tight stress and I might need the ER without ever asking how I was doing. Dad went angry. You're being cruel to your own family. This isn't who we raised you to be. Jason went straight to threats. Fine, I'll drop out. I'll be homeless. Is that what you want? They switched from calling me a pathetic failure to calling me beloved daughter the second the money stopped. That was the risk I'd planned for. The story would be rewritten fast, and I'd be cast as the villain unless I stayed calm and stayed factual. So I did the only thing that protects you from narrative games. I documented. Every voicemail saved, every text screenshot, every timestamp logged. When guilt still didn't work, they tried reinforcements. A cousin called mid-week. Emma, what's going on? Your mom says you cut them off over some misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding, I said, but if you want the full story, I can send you the video. I sent it, the 347 clip, the unsent message that was never meant for me. An hour later, my cousin called back, voice different, quieter, real. Oh my God, Emma, I'm so sorry. After that, anyone who came to mediate got the same response. The evidence, not my emotions. The receipts, not a debate. By Thursday, the extended family had started choosing sides, quietly but clearly. And by Friday, the next risk arrived exactly where I knew it would. Jason showed up at my apartment building. When guilt failed, they stopped calling and came to my door. Friday evening, I made a decision that felt both calculated and inevitable. I opened the family group chat, the one with aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents, and posted 2 files back to back. First, the 47-page invoice. Second, the 347 video. No paragraph of feelings, no please understand, no last attempt to be the reasonable one. Just evidence. In case anyone's wondering why I've stopped sending money, I wrote, here it is. The chat went quiet for a beat, the kind of silence that happens right before a room realizes what it's looking at. Then it detonated. Questions. Shock. Messages that started with, I'm so sorry, and ended with, I can't believe they said that. Someone asked if the video was real. Someone else answered for me. Listen to their voices. My grandmother, the person my parents always claimed would be heartbroken if I ever pushed back, wrote one sentence that cut cleaner than anything I could have typed. I'm ashamed you turned your daughter into your bank account. My mother tried to steer it immediately. This is taken out of context. Families joke. She's overreacting. That invoice is cruel. But the problem with receipts is that they don't argue back. They just sit there. And in that 347 clip, my mother looked into the camera and called me a pathetic failure who was too soft to say no. My brother laughed about me being the family ATM. My father toasted to milking me like it was normal. The story my parents wanted to tell in that chat didn't survive contact with their own words. I didn't respond to every message. I didn't debate. I let the thread do what it was going to do without me managing it. because for 3 years I'd managed everything. Then the second half of the climax arrived at my door. Around 8 p.m., someone started pounding on it. Hard, fast, angry enough that sound carried down the hallway. I looked through the peephole and saw Jason pacing like he needed the corridor to feel smaller. "Emma!" he shouted. "Open up!" I didn't open the door. I started recording on my phone. Jason," I said clearly, calm enough for the microphone to catch every word. "You need to leave." "You destroyed our family over a stupid joke," he yelled. "Mom's crying, Dad's furious. Everyone thinks we're monsters because of your little revenge post." "I didn't destroy anything," I said. "I just stopped funding it." That sentence hit him like a slap. He leaned toward the door, voice rising. "You think you're better than us. You've always been a stuck-up." Doors opened down the hall. I heard footsteps. Someone's TV went quiet. Jason didn't care. He was too busy performing. 3 years, he snapped. "I put up with your attitude, acting like some saint because you helped. Nobody asked you to be our hero." I kept my voice even. "But you did ask me to be your ATM." "So what if we did?" he barked. "You could afford it. You're selfish for cutting us off." The hallway stayed awake around him, silent witness, the way public spaces become when someone forgets they're not alone. I didn't insult him. I didn't raise my voice to match his. I didn't give him the scene he wanted. I gave him consequences. "You're being recorded," I said through the door. "This is harassment. Leave." He kicked the bottom of my door once, more frustration than strategy. Perfect. A clean sound, a visible jolt, a moment that made the story undeniable. His breathing changed after that, like he suddenly remembered there were other people in the building. "This isn't over," he shouted, already backing away. "You can't just cut off your family." "I can," I said, and I did. Footsteps retreated. A stairwell door slammed. When the hallway finally quieted, someone knocked gently, not aggressive like Jason, but careful. "Are you okay?" a neighbor asked through my door. "I'm fine," I answered, and for the first time I meant it. Back in the group chat, the thread was still moving. People asking for the invoice, quoting lines from the video, demanding my parents explain themselves without the usual guilt script. So I posted one final message, short enough that nobody could twist it into a debate. "Effective immediately, I'm retiring from being the family ATM. Thank you for 3 years of business. This account is permanently closed." Then I put my phone down. No more arguments. No more negotiations. Just the record, public now, and finally out of my hands. 6 months later, my life looked completely different. Not because I became a different person, because I stopped pretending other people's problems were mine to solve with my paycheck. My savings started growing again. The constant drain disappeared, and with it, the constant dread. I stopped flinching every time my phone buzzed, waiting for the next emergency to land in my lap. The peace was unfamiliar at first. Then it became normal. I also learned what my family was actually capable of when they couldn't fall back on the family ATM. They adjusted, they downsized, they picked up extra work. Jason figured out school without my transfers. The details didn't matter as much as the truth underneath them. They could do it. They just didn't want to, while I was too soft to say no. The strangest part was realizing I didn't miss the money. I missed the version of love I thought those payments were buying. Because love isn't a transaction. People who love you don't laugh about you being a pathetic failure behind your back. They don't take your generosity with one hand and mock it with the other. They don't call your kindness stupidity and your boundaries dramatic. Real love doesn't come with a payment plan. Sometimes I still think about the unsent message, that accidental 347 window into who they were when they thought I wasn't listening. And I think about the 47-page invoice I built from 3 years of receipts. Not as revenge, as a reminder. For 3 years, I confused being used with being needed, being drained with being helpful, and being good with being available. Now I know better. Being too soft to say no was never kindness. It was self-abandonment, and I'm done with that.